about transition from being an athlete and being a manager. And the moderator will be Professor Ruta. And I ask him to take his position.
Thank you very much, Professor Oswald, Dennis. Thank you, everybody. Big thank to CIS on behalf of Sdabocconi, to the FMA, to all the graduates for the great opportunity for this conference, especially for this topic that I really love in terms of research that we are bringing more and more in the FIFA Master program. That is about career transition from the field of play to the office, let's say in this way. As you may see from the program, we have 5 important speakers. 3 of them are here. 2 will be online virtual. So we need to have a little bit of organization in order to have their contributions to this important topic. Before starting with the first part of the roundtable, I want to make just a very short introduction about the role of athletes, coaches, and technical staff in the sport industry. So this is an industry very peculiar where you may go from the field of play to become a manager and executives, maybe even in a few hours. And this is something that doesn't happen in other contexts. This is, in my opinion, based on research, is absolutely a value because these people that know very well the needs of the field of play, they may take the right decisions. But in the transition, it's important to take care of their needs, to take care of their development. So this is why there are a few studies that study these transitions, these paths, that are very important for the overall value creation in the sport industry, but also for the lives of athletes, coaches, and technical staff. In this regard, we will touch basically three topics with all our speakers and our guests that are about the change of life. The second point is about competencies, if you may take, as a background of your mind. The third one is about education, because obviously some of these speakers, they've been involved, they've been alumni of the FIFA Master. So we want to know their thought about the role of education in the development of these careers. So if the story is clear and the design is something that you like to see and to hear, we may start with the first guest. So I want to invite Ji-Sung Park that should be connected. So at the moment I prefer to stand here. We should connect with the G. Let me introduce G, football legend and Manchester United ambassador, graduate of the 17th edition. G, are you there?
Yeah, hello, Luke. Dino, how are you?
Hi, hello. I'm very, very well. And you?
I'm good. Hello, everybody.
How is family, G?
Yeah, all good. They enjoy the sun at the moment, so I'm really happy to be back to London. Yeah.
Okay, you are based in London, but you, as we mentioned, you did the 17th edition. Please tell us something about what you are doing now in your professional life.
Yeah, after I graduate the FIFA Master, then I'm looking for what I can do, where I can join it. And then firstly, I joined the AFC as a consultant, and still I'm doing it as well. But as recently the circumstances because of the pandemic, I couldn't really anything around when we started the pandemic. But at the moment, I just joined one of the football club in Korea, which is Jeonbuk Hyundai, probably best team at the moment. I just do the advisor role, which is quite similar like a technical director in football club, but I couldn't be there as a technical director. So I just stay in London, and then I visit regularly to the club and to see how the club should be go, and then which way, what kind of philosophy football has to be. And then I need to structure the youth football system as well.
We are very curious, G, coming back a little bit, in your career, why a professional player decide to apply to the FIFA Master and not to other programs, for instance?
In my opinion, if you can be a coach, probably it's an easier way to continue your work, because of you've been through the hard work, and then you can through your professional career. But if you want to try different things, such as you can involved in a sports environment as an administrator, then you need to know what's happening around off the pitch. And then I just curious about that, and then I want to contribute to the administration, not on the pitch or as a coaching staff. So then I thought, what should I do before I do the administration? Then many people suggest me to join the FIFA Master course, which is you can give you overview of everything around what's going on behind the football pitch and then off the pitch. Just it's not only football. I know it's mainly quite a lot of you can touch the football, but it's also touch the different sports and then different other things like a broadcast or whatever. You can really, through the course, you can see the overview of the whole background of the sports field.
And what did you learn at FIFA Master? Obviously, you don't have to answer with all some module exams, but in a nutshell, what are the competencies that, in your opinion, FIFA Master gave you?
I think there's a lot, because it depends on what environment you work for. But FIFA Master course, through the whole course, you can touch everything around off the pitch. So, for example, for me, when I joined the football club, then we want to try to change the stadium, but stadium owned by the city council, so football club really can't force them to do something. But if I wasn't through the FIFA Master course, I just have to understand every single department to say about me why it's not possible. But through the FIFA Master course, I know that there's lots of different stakeholders, and then how you organized, how you communicated. So I have to build my plan to make sure that will be happen in the next year or year after. It's not just only you want to change it, just certainly can't change it. So if I didn't do the FIFA Master course, I just don't understand. But now I understand, because there's a different stakeholders, different minded, what's their prior things. So FIFA Master course, it shows basically around everything that you can implement in your work. Basically, you can structure from the basic to your opinion, add what you learn through the FIFA Master course. And also, as a financial department, I through the financial course in Milan in a FIFA Master course, and then I implemented that to our club's financial for around how we're gonna value of the football player, and then how we're gonna consider what kind of things we can buy or sell the players. Before I just said, if he's a good player, probably I can buy it. Probably it's not, I can sell it. But it's not that simple. It's through the course, I can have to consider there's marketing, there's how old his age is, what the current market price. So these kind of different things I learned from the FIFA Master course, which is I can work more quickly, adapt to the current position. And then I don't need to, they explain me from the zero. I know there's some basic things. and then I can start from there. It's more quicker to adapt my current position and then work with the other people.
Thank you very much for this very detailed answer. Basically, the message that we got is that you were able to learn a comprehensive view of sport management, in this case, applied to the world of football. Let me ask just maybe an easy, I don't know, easy, but maybe a funny question is it's easier to play football or to manage football?
I think it's easier to play football.
Thank you very much. But final, before we move on, and again, for your time, thanks for your time. Can you share with us your best memory of the FIFA Master?
I think it's the atmosphere and then alumni, because through the course, I can really close to my colleagues. And even through the course, we can meet the opportunity to meet the different alumni. So which is you can make your network. Every person, every people, they work different parts, different sports, different environment, which is you can get more different ideas or good ideas, even if they are different part of your section. So that could be really benefit for the people who join the FIFA Master course. And then I really appreciate that I can meet different people and different situation, which gives you more good ideas, more bigger vision of what I do now.
I think we are all lucky to have you as a part of the alumni network of our family. So thank you very much for your time and congratulations again for your achievement and best of luck for the future. Grazie mille.
Thank you so much. Yeah, enjoy today. Thank you.
So I think we touch a few points that now we will be back on the stage with G. So it's now the time to welcome and introduce our speakers to the stage. So I will sit here while the guests and speakers will sit here. So the first guest is that I would like to welcome on the stage is Massimo Busacca, FIFA Chief of Refereeing and former international football referee.
Thank you.
Grazie Massimo, welcome.
Thank you.
The second guest is Damian Mollar, Team Operations Manager of the Swiss national football team and former football player, graduate of the 10th edition. Welcome, Damian. And as a special guest, we also have Professor Dennis Oswald, Olympic medalist and IOC Executive Board member. And I would add, Dennis, if you allow me, is all the editions of FIFA Master. Can I say in this way? So you are not an alumnus, but you are obviously the leader of the FIFA Master of the board. So it's not only one edition, but it's all the editions of FIFA Master. Thank you very much for accepting this invitation. As said, we will touch these points about change, about competencies, about education. I would start with the first question that is about the change that you had in your career. I would start with Massimo. Tell us something about what how was this change, or when you decided to stop your career as a referee, and how it started this new career in the office.
I still remember the day I decided to change, because I celebrate now on the 1st August 10 years working in FIFA. And first of all, it's really incredible how time goes very fast, getting older, and already 10 years. But I still remember that day, and also decision to stop and to accept the proposal of FIFA, which was a big honor, because when you receive such proposal, I mean, it's not that automatically to receive. But finish the career of referee, not going anymore on Anfield Road, on Bernabeu, on Nou Camp, in San Siro. And when I think today, I still have the adrenaline inside. It was not easy. To not going anymore in the pitch and made the field just cut. To not listen to the Anfield Road, you never walk alone, and pushing you in the back when you're running, I mean, was not easy. Even if I was the secure of the job, receiving the possibility to be the leader of this division, refereeing, which is very, very difficult, to forget that moment, these incredible years, international career, and meet the best player in the world, and talking with them and see live incredible goals without paying the ticket, because I had always the privilege to be in the pitch watching these incredible players scoring goals and be really there. It was not easy, to forget. So when I came here in front of one laptop and not having any more, even although my job is not only in the office, because I also have other important duty in the pitch, and this was the most important for me in the transition, because I could remain on the pitch and work with the referees in the instruction, but not having any more, guys, the possibility of this stadium, it was not easy. So what I did is just arrive here, work in the office, but then lunchtime, going run 2 hours in the forest. I lost myself a few times. I don't know if you know the forest here, only because I need the emotion and the adrenaline that I had for many years. I seen the answer you see before, if it's much more easy to be a player, so working now in this position, what you say before, our friends, it's the truth. When you like something, when you have the passion of something you did for many years, this is the best. It's not the job that can give you, of course, the possibility to work and to have a salary, whatever. It's not this. For me, the passion is the most important. When you do something and you have the passion, you continue and you can achieve many results. If you don't have the passion inside, you don't enjoy what you are really doing, it's difficult that you can really remain at such important level for many years. So just to answer, I know I was already too long.
No, very quickly, it's very interesting what you said, but how did you change your passion? Because now you are passionate about what you are doing. How did you adjust to this
Thanks
new?
to God, I remain again, and this I have to thank FIFA, in my work, in refereeing. So I didn't change my job. So for me, it was not so difficult, the transition in terms of understanding what I should do, because before was my game, only my game, preparing my game. And now I have to prepare the game of everybody. Even in this period, the introduction of technology. So the responsibility is different. But for me, I don't want to say really very clear that was easy, but I didn't learn so much at the moment of the transition. Because again, and thanks to God, I had the talent, like everyone inside here has his talent. You will discover your talent in the future and your job. Then I just take my talent in the pitch, when I was in the pitch, to put in the office. And now I continue to teach and doing as I did before when I was in the pitch. Because I was convinced about this, about the preparation, about, all the aspects that we introduce in these years in FIFA. So honestly, in terms of transition or changing, let's say, the way to work, for me was very difficult from the pitch going outside. This was very difficult. So it took probably 1.5 years before really forget complete and say, no, I go back. No, I go back.
The picture that you are giving us is very, very clear. Let's move to Damian. Damian, how can we? What can we learn from your transition? So the moment when you stop and the moment when you enter in a new career.
I can say that I was lucky to have a smooth transition after my professional career as a football player because I was prepared for that. And I think this is a very important point. You talk about passion, and this is one of the most important aspects to find something to do after your career where you have the passion for that. And I was very lucky my passion to become my job as a football player for some years. But at a certain point, you see at training session and so on that young players coming, they are jumping higher, they are faster. And then you see, okay, we'll have to find something different to do. But thanks to the dual approach with my education that I have during the entire duration of my sportsman career, I always study and keep an eye open to other things, and were able to prepare my transition for that. I was also lucky to decide when to stop, and this is also a very important point. I think many players have to stop because of an injury or because of sickness or something else. I was able to decide, and this gives you the opportunity to really to choose where you want to go, what do you want to do, and this is
How many months, weeks, days before you decide to stop? So you said this is my last season, or at the end of the season you said it's better if I don't start a new one?
I think 6 months before the end of the season, I was already thinking concretely what I would like to do, and start to, thanks to the network, I was able to build, thanks to the FIFA Master and thanks to the connection you can do during a professional career. I was thinking about what I would like to do, and I think it took about 6 months, yes, to say, okay, I would like to start in that direction, and had the right contact, the right interviews, and I could start right after the end of the season with my new job. Actually, it was an internship, which was not so easy because you start from, I think it's in June, you're still training 3 hours a day, but from July on, you are 8 hours in the office from day one, and that's a quite difficult transition. But you have to find ways to, as Massimo said, maybe to have a walk in the woods over lunchtime. But
what do you remember as the main support that you received in that moment in order to change and to get used to the new life?
I think this is a key point over the last years, which improve and increase in the world, I think, of football and for professional players. It's the entourage around the players. The entourage is growing on the field, I mean, around the team. When I'm talking about the technical staff, when we travel to a World Championship or FIFA World Cup or a Euro, we travel with more than 30 persons around the team. So we are a delegation of around 60 persons. And all these persons also off the field are very important for the players. Today, a professional player is around him. He has, of course, the coach and the technical staff, but he also has maybe a financial advisor, a nutritionist, a private physiotherapist, a concierge. Some have a concierge. They want to bring their cat to the veterinary. They ask him, and can you help me, please? So all these persons have a very big impact on the life of the players. And I was very lucky to have a good entourage and people who I can trust around me and give me the right advice. And that's why I had this smooth transition as well.
Thank you, Damian. Let's move to Dennis. Dennis, can you share your main thoughts about your transition?
Yes, you may be surprised, but actually everything happened a little bit by accident. I never had the ambition to be a sport leader, or I was just an athlete and happy to go through my 3 Olympics. And it happened one day that the president of the International Rowing Federation, as I was a rower, came to see me, and he said, I've followed you, what you have been doing. You are a very dedicated guy. You have the profile to be my successor. And you know, as an athlete, you have no idea what these guys are doing to organize competition and so on. And I was very surprised, but to make a long story short, yet a few months later, after my third Olympic, actually, he proposed me to be elected first as Secretary General of the Rowing Federation, and then to become his secretary, which happened after 12 years, where I learned the job in a way, being the Secretary General of the organization. And then one position led to another one. Even CIS, Professor Juvet was the president of the council of CIS once came to see me in my office and said, well, we need a new director. And I've received a list of different people, and I don't know them. Can you help us and tell me who is the person who would be the most appropriate to become the director? And we went through the list. I gave him my assessment of the people. I knew many of them. And he said, well, I have one more on the list, but it's a very busy guy, and I'm not sure he could dedicate the necessary time. I said, well, tell me his name. Well, it's you. And at the end, I started only one day a week because I couldn't do more, and it became a bit more. So really, I never pushed for something. It happened, and I tried to figure me out why it happened. And I had something I received from my, I would say, family education. My father told me always, if something is worth doing, it's worth to be done well. And I've tried to do everything I was doing as well as possible. And again, it came pretty much automatically. People around recognized that probably I had some merits and that could fit in the job. But I was not specifically prepared. I mean, I studied law, and it's always a good background to be in some kind of position, but nothing else. There was no FIFA master or things where you can learn everything which is needed. And what I realized is that you go as an athlete from an individual position to a more global, a more collective position. As an athlete, you look for yourself. You try to be the best, or as good as possible, let's say, be modest, as good as possible. You work for it. But okay, your entourage may play a certain role, you may have a good coach, but it's you, and you look only after you. And suddenly, when you are in an executive position, then you have a lot of people around you, a lot of people to listen to, but also a lot of people to lead. So you go from a position where you had just to apply the rules, respect the rules, and then you move to a position to those creating the rules and decided about a number of things which will affect all the community in your sport. And it's a huge responsibility for which, honestly, you are not really much prepared. Maybe another reason why probably our president at the time asked me to consider being his successor was at the time there was no athletes commission in the different sport, but he was a kind of precursor. And at every World Championship, Olympic Games, he used to invite the athletes who were interested to come and speak to him. And I like, because I was interesting to see how my sport was evolving and maybe contribute a bit. And when he came to see me, he said, you know, in these meetings, you are always present. It shows an interest for our sport. But in addition, you are very critical. And if you have good ideas and you think it's so easy, then come join us and then demonstrate what you can do to improve the sport. And then I recognize, and I go back to the question you asked to G. Was it easier to be an athlete, or was it more difficult to be an executive? Clearly, it's much more difficult. And of course, there were so many aspects that you ignore when you are just an athlete. You have a certain credit, so probably it's good to have a sporting background in your sport, because people would respect you. At least you know the sport well. But there are so many things you ignore, how difficult it is. And then when you face this situation, then you learn that what the executive, what the managers are doing is very difficult.
Dennis, thank you very much. And it's very clear from this first round of questions that there is the challenge of change, the challenge of adjustment, and also the fact that from the field of play to the office, there are certain areas, unknown areas. And this is why I want to now launch the second question, that is about new competencies. So new things to learn. Because what Dennis just said is that you need to do things different. You need to lead project organizations, to lead others. And obviously, what also G said is I learned new stuff at FIFA Master. But I want to come back to your stories that are very fascinating for us, especially because it comes back a few years ago. Massimo, what did you had to learn? So when you realized that you had to start a new career in your industry, in your professional area, but still you have to learn new things. Can you share with us, the moment where you realize what to learn and how you did it?
Yeah, sure. And this you have to put immediately yourself in discussion, because before, and we say before, it was my game. I know my capacity, I know my quality, I know what I can do, I know how I can learn. But then you have to think on the others, because you have to teach. And when you are teaching, you have different people in front of you, which are different personality, different talents, different way of understanding also. And we know that someone can understand easy, someone need a little bit more time, someone need to go more in the pitch and prepare what you are doing. So it's a sort of having the talent, having your personality, and try to adjust and try to make something that can make you a better, in our case, better referee. And this is the difficulty, I had, because especially in FIFA, in what we are doing, we are working on results. Okay, before you start something, results, target. You cannot put even a small details in discussion and say, let's see what happened. No, it will happen. You have to succeed. So in this case, you have to understand immediately the scenario. You have to understand who you have in front. You have to understand how they can learn fast. Because believe me, it's difficult to change your personality. It's different to change your talent. You have or you don't have. It's like a top player. For sure they learn, for sure they go in the pitch and they continue to repeat ABC 2-3 hours before they understand that when the ball is there, it will arrive there. And this is what we are doing in referee. Some referee, and this was, again, related to me, that, tactical approach, preparation, understanding the teams, understanding the characteristic of single players. It was important because then I was prepared.
You could anticipate, certainly. It
was never a surprise.
Yeah.
Then, of course, you have the surprise in life. You have the surprise in the pitch, and you have to be ready for the surprise, the expected, the unexpected. You have always. And that's why I say to my assistant, when you have the situation that never happened to you before, if you want to make the difference with the others, and you want to arrive at that level, you must find a solution. We cannot always say after the game, but it was the first time. Let's think about, let's learn, and then next time we'll find a solution. Next time will happen again, the situation that never happened to you. And then what you do again? You think, I'm making experience, we will discuss tomorrow, and then the others arrive. So if you want to be a top, and this was the difficulty to me, is to teach this.
Teaching.
If you want to arrive at this level and you want to remain, you have to surprise. But surprise in positive, not in negative, because we have two ways to surprise.
So it's a matter of mindset. Mindset in, but leadership. I think also from an external perspective, in your role, also technology was something that evolved incredibly in the last 10 years. I think also that kind of a new competence enter in your skill set.
Sure, but when I teach, and when we are talking about development of refereeing, technology is nothing to do. Technology is a good help, but can be dangerous. Because if you really take only as an help, say, I have the quality. So my target is at the end to say, thank you, technology, I was better than you. So this is my target. I cannot always look in Google. I cannot always say what Google say, whatever. I want to find a solution. So you find a solution in the pitch. You have the quality always to understand what is going on. In case the situation is very difficult, in case it never happened before to you, to our life, we have difficulty, no? And that's why we introduce technology. But we introduce only for few situations, only when it's really necessary. If not, I have to show my quality. I have to show really what I can really understand in this difficult moment of the game.
So and the best technology is yourself. That's what you want to say.
Technology is a good help.
But
I still told you before, when I still remember one game in Barcelona against Manchester United, 99,000 spectators in no camp. For me, was not a problem. Team A, Team B, player A, player B. You cannot really think where you are in this moment.
A free ticket.
And free tickets, as usual. It was expensive that time.
Yeah.
Champions League is expensive, so enjoy the game. But then you have to decide also. Referee is not the main actor of the game. Have to be outside. You are an actor, but since when the game go well, you stay out. When the game need you, I'm coming. After 2 minutes, 0-0 quarterfinal of Champions League, handball in penalty area, penalty. Against Barcelona, in Barcelona, 99,000 spectators. I still remember the pressure. My heart was beating 100 kilometers per hour. Say, penalty, no penalty. 7 players come to you. Referee, no es penal, no está loco, no. What do you do? At that time, I didn't have technology. And I remember the fourth official, hey, you have a monitor there. Look. Go to the bench. Are you sure? Guys, you decide with one decision, million and million of euro. So at that moment, I took the decision. Even if I had a doubt, I took the decision.
With personality.
With personality, but with the preparation also. It's something you have to be prepared. You have the talent, but you should also prepare and anticipate. It's like a photograph that before he's taking a picture, you know already what is going to click. So it's like you anticipate. And this is the surprise I say before to you. If you don't surprise, and then, because I told you also before, I took the decision, thanks to God, was correct. And then Cristiano Ronaldo go, kick, and he missed the penalty. After 2 minutes, he missed the penalty. But it's Cristiano Ronaldo.
He can make it.
He can make later another goal. He can really play well. They win the game. And then he's still Cristiano Ronaldo. And we know after he was, 10 years ago, and we know where he still is this player. But when a referee, and I'm talking really to me, and this is the difficulty to come back to your answer to teach all the others. When you are at such level, you are a referee, every single decision can be crucial for your career. Because you can be good for 88 minutes, you can be wrong for 10 seconds, you are killed.
Massimo, very, very clear this moment of your life where the idea is to be a great performer is one thing, but the idea to transfer your ability to take the right decision, the right moment is something that is not simple to acquire. Damian, what is your experience about learning new competencies?
I think during your career, you learn a lot of, you gather a lot of soft skills. As we say, as a sportsman, when you start working in the industry and in the administration, we are talking about, okay, pressure management, to be on time, have the right attitude, being a team player, being able to work in a team. But what was for me, let's be honest, difficult at the beginning was the hard skills. Okay, your boss come to you and say, okay, we would like to play an international friendly against this team. Please write a letter to the International Federation. Da, da, da. Wow, okay. Dear sir and madam, where should I start? So, of course, as an athlete and all your experience, and when you talk about playing in front of 100,000 spectators, it helps. It helps because in this kind of situation, you can manage it. I mean, if you have to kick a penalty in front of these guys, you are able to write a letter, okay? But actually, you have to do it. You have a white sheet of paper in front of you, and you have to do it, okay? And I like always I like also what Neckel say before, Neckel, right? When she said, map the path. Because that's true, when you're an athlete and you start working, it's already good to have an idea where you want to go and what are your qualities, what are your skills. There are some, as an athlete, maybe you reach the top. As a ref, you reach the top. What do you want to do more as refereeing the Champions League? Huh? Well, maybe the World Cup, okay. But when you start working in the industry, in the administration, it's the same. Maybe you see your skills. Okay, oh, I thought I would be able to manage a team. No, maybe I'm better to be a kind of project manager, a specialist in my job. And this is something you learn in doing, and it takes time. And this was something that I had to learn. You have to be very humble at the beginning because you cannot start at being a top manager from scratch. I mean, Park said the same at the beginning. Of course, I've learned a lot thanks to FIFA Master. I had good skills, but the first time I want to buy a club was not an easy.
So basically, you need to give yourself time, and you need to create the right opportunities where you may even make mistakes in a safe environment.
Everyone can make a mistake. I mean,
absolutely.
If you work, you do mistake. Cristiano Ronaldo missed the penalty. He does mistake as well. So I think it's important to be humble at the beginning and to be ready to give everything, to have the right attitude, to find the new passion, because it's not easy to start teaching or to start working on something totally different, even if it's the same environment. It's football, when I'm talking about me, but it's still, you are on backstage now.
Yeah.
It's something
the other
different.
side. It's the other side of the coin.
Exactly. So the attitude is very important. Yeah.
Damian, thank you very much. Dennis, what about you? The first few things that you had to learn.
Coming back to what Damian said, I think as a sportsman, especially high-level sportsman, you learn through sport quite a number of things already: determination, will, etc. And it is important that you exploit what you have in yourself first. But it's not enough, by far. It's not enough. And an organization, sport organization, federation, there are small and bigger ones, but it's a kind of company, it's a kind of enterprise. You have departments, finance departments, marketing department, etc. And suddenly you are at the top and you have to lead the operations in fields you don't really know. It's why, guys, you are well prepared to be confronted with this kind of situation. It was not my case, so I had to learn and took, of course, more time until you really fully understand things which has not been taught to you during your education. And therefore, when I look at the fields which were necessary when I became the president of an international federation, it reflects pretty much what is taught in the FIFA Master Program. As Pierre said, I mean, we still have to improve, and we have been trying to adjust in the course of the years what was developing, the new aspect of sports, so that we cover which was unimportant or not known at the beginning in the first edition, and second and so third. So nearly every year we have improved or tried to improve, and that's exactly the situation, because there are so many fields that you have to cover, and you have to be the leader. You have to, and it's always difficult to admit that you don't know or you don't understand. And that's maybe another aspect. It's important that you have a good environment and good people around you that you can trust, because in most cases they will know more than you, and therefore you have to be humble. But there must be people having the right training in the different fields, and it's why it's good that in many federations some of you have a job where they can support their leadership in the field where they have the necessary knowledge.
Dennis, thank you very much. I think with your words and your image of being a leader of a federation, I think it's the right moment to see another speaker, the last speaker of this round table, of this panel, that is Emma Twigg. We recorded together with Joao, that I want to say big thank to Joao for all the help in the preparation of this roundtable. We recorded a few days ago a video for this incredible performance. She did a great performance also at FIFA Master. So now before launching the video, I asked the speakers if we may go there and we may enjoy this a few minutes of. They will be back for a final question and answer, and also to comment what Emma will share with us. Thank you for now.
Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, I can't be with you in person because of all the COVID restrictions and border issues that we're having in New Zealand, but it's a real privilege to be speaking on this panel, even if it is virtually, and I'm hoping everyone gets something from it and has a great time this weekend. So I decided to apply for the FIFA Master at a time in my career where I felt I needed a little bit of change and some balance in my life. And I guess a fourth place in London made me realize that no matter what effort you put in, you didn't necessarily get the result that you were after. And there needed to be something else for me to go to after sport. So that was the logic behind applying. It was a risk at the time because it did mean that I was not being picked for the New Zealand rowing team to qualify the boat for the Rio Olympics, but ultimately I had belief that I could go to a last chance qualification regatta and qualify the boat in the year of the games. And I was weighing up, the benefits of having done the Masters versus not doing it. And to me, it was quite an easy decision in the end. I guess the routine and the regimen that we have in rowing, it requires a lot of training. So I had to be really organised to be able to fit in training before and after class, or sometimes at lunchtime in the gym in Bacone there. So yeah, it was just a balancing act, but all of those tools I'd learnt through training and through sport, and I could apply that to what I was doing in the class as well. There was a few things that I forfeited that potentially I wouldn't have done if I wasn't training as well whilst doing the Masters, but it was a real balancing act to make sure I could do both really well. Yeah, I think the Masters that year in particular was probably one of the most personal growth for me personally. What it did was open my eyes to different cultures, different ways of thinking, and something very different to what I'd experienced for the previous 10 years, just being in a very insular sporting environment. And that allowed me to open my mind a little bit more and create some balance in my life when I came back to the sport. It also allowed me to create all these friendships and networks that I still to this day have, and I really value all of those. Many of them more so than some of the friendships that I've created in rowing and within our team currently. So I think just the Masters really allowed me to connect with people, I guess, on an intellectual level, and something very different to the people that I'd surrounded myself by up until that point in sport. Learning about financial fair play. No, I think for me the greatest memories, apart from the social aspect, which for sure was a great part of it, were the opportunities that we had to go to all of these huge sporting organisations or venues, or the field trips that really stuck out in my mind. And to have so many of those in 1 year and experiences like that is something really unique. And to be doing it with people that are so passionate about sport as well was something that I'll never forget. I definitely would recommend it to other athletes to be doing something like this. Study in general, whilst performing at a high level, is something that allows balance, as I said before, and it just, I think, creates perspective and athletes that are really well-rounded. I think there's a real tendency when you're in an elite sport for that to be the 100% focus and to not really have much perspective outside of that. So if there's someone contemplating, even in my case, it was a little bit of a change in scenery. It was an amazing year, and it certainly opened doors when I did retire, and no doubt will continue to open doors when I decide what the next step will be in my career outside of rowing. I guess my internship really came about because of the relationships that I'd formed whilst doing the Masters. And again, that year I had a year of Masters, and then I went and did the Rio Games, so had a year back in the boat, and then transitioned into work life at the IOC. And I learned a hell of a lot in that year as well, and had some amazing experiences, and again formed some great friendships and a perspective of what organising a games involved, which, being there this time, was quite a unique experience to be sitting on the bus and understanding a little bit more about what's actually gone into putting this games together. So that was an awesome time in my life, and I guess it also made me realize that I actually did love being an athlete, and that I had more to give, and hadn't really achieved what I'd wanted to in the sport, and also realized that it's a real privilege to be able to inspire people, and you can have a lot of impact when you're an athlete with a profile, especially in a small country like ours. And to answer the question of what's next, I'm still very much working through that. I feel like Paris is not far away, but the body and mind has to be willing to do another one. I feel like the monkey is off my back in terms of having won an Olympic gold medal, so that's something that I don't feel like I need to do again, and if I was to be in a boat, it would be for pure enjoyment. And otherwise, I'd love to work in sport. I think I'd like to work as close to the field of play as possible, and I guess those opportunities don't really present themselves until people know that you're out there and looking. So watch this space. So I think for me, the biggest change in this campaign was making use of an entire team, and creating that team that believed 100% in what I was doing. Who, there's often times when, even as an elite athlete, you're doubting yourself, and so having a team around you that is able to pick you up and remind you of why you're doing it. And also for me, they were experts in their field. And when I came back this time around, I made sure that I had a coach that was willing to listen to others, to experts in strength and conditioning or nutrition or whatever it may be in my tight team. And I think this time around, we just our mantra was pay attention to detail and do the small things really well. And that was kind of what was our guiding principle throughout this campaign. And every week we'd sit around a table and communicate. And if there was something that was not quite right, my people would highlight that, whether it be, down to recovery food after a training session, or not committing 100% to a certain piece that we were doing. And these small things gradually built one on top of the other, to a position where in Tokyo, I had this real relaxed confidence in my ability, and knew that if I did exactly what we'd practiced and trained for, that there would be no one that was close to me.
I asked the speakers to be back on the stage for the last 5 minutes of question and answer. I think so far we got a lot of takeaways. There is one fil rouge, the social support, the entourage, the methodology, to have a plan, to organize the lives in a certain manner, also considering the time for adjustment from education to performance to leadership, and all the other examples that we just got. I need my dear friend Alessandro, if you want to take 2-3 questions. I think it's the right moment before lunch.
All right, I'm Pedro Trengraus from Brazil, from the 4th edition. I would like to ask all of you, actually, if you see and if you would recommend the FIFA Master as a tool for other athletes to make their career transition in sport. Because looking back at these 20 years, we see some examples, but I think we could have much more. And in the future, if you think more and more athletes would look at the FIFA Master as a bridge to their transition career. And Massimo, a question for you. Would you apply for the FIFA Master as well to join us as an alumni in the future?
Or maybe 10 years ago.
No, but I think first the question is for you, the importance of the school.
It's to all of you, so you may answer. The idea of a FIFA Master is a moment.
No, but I want to respect who is really did and who is there. So first, please.
Dennis, please.
Well, certainly if it had existed at the time, probably I would have been interested to follow the lectures and learn more. So as I said before, being an athlete gives you a certain credit in your sport. And we and something I didn't mention before, but when I was recruited by my president, he said, we have a tradition in rowing. We want the athletes to be the leaders. And so it's why it's important that you have people who have a personal experience of sports. It helps. But as I said before, it's not enough. And you need competencies in many other fields. And therefore, education is essential. But it would be good to answer your question. Yes, it would be certainly good to have more top athletes following what Emma has been doing. Now she's Olympic champion, and in rowing, she's the queen. And if she looked for a position, everybody in rowing at least would be interested to hire her.
Damian, you want to say?
I would definitely promote and suggest the FIFA Master. And for me, the FIFA Master, well, the most strong thing is the overall package that it has. Many people talk about the as Emma did now, about the networking, about learning people, opening mindset, and living a year long with people from around the world. But I would like to emphasize as well the academic part of the master as well, because for me as a former sportsman, it was also very important to have this strong and hard skills to enter the business. So of course, all these soft skills and learning people are very important, but also the academic part is very important and gives you good tools to enter the business. One point when I would suggest to an athlete, you have different period during your career. You have a time where you have to focus 100% on your job as an athlete to reach the top if you want to reach the top. But you have some period maybe at the end of the career where you can think about, you have the time to think about the time after. And this is the time where you have to maybe think about a program like the FIFA Master, but definitely not when you're at the peak of your career.
Yeah, I can only agree on what they said, but also before it was very clear the answer that he was a player, and when he stopped and he went on the other side, he should know many important things how to manage. And this is what I also can say. I mean, we cannot put in discussion first the quality of the school, because I know people did this FIFA Master and arrive also here in FIFA. I mean, they're really prepared. They know what they are doing. You can really need only a few hours to teach them on the specific duty they should do. But the quality when they come out is really, to answer you, I can only suggest, I didn't do, unfortunately, and now I'm really too old to do, and I cannot really understand anymore for sure many things if I come. But I would for sure take a big opportunity, because the transition, and I think today was very clear, is incredible. From the pitch to go outside is incredible, because before is your game in any sports, and when then you go on the other side, you have to think too many, and this you have to learn. Then again, you can have the talents to understand immediately, but there are specific really duty that if you don't learn and you don't participate in such important program as I'm sure you are doing, and many did, and demonstrate with results, I think it's very difficult. So I can only agree that it's crucial.
Massimo, thank you very much. We have a final question. Nicole, please.
Hi, thank you. How are you all individually working to develop the pipeline of talent that's to come after you? And I do mean the pipeline that comes directly from your profession, as in professional athletes into these administrative roles, as well as professional referees, but also a broader pipeline, diverse pipeline to your different roles in areas where you may not have the practical experience, so analytics, things like that.
As I said before, for me, because I was afraid on that, honestly, I was afraid because you have to manage incredible difficult division, which need immediately results. As I say, you cannot say, just wait, because when I started, I already managed to organize an important World Cup, which was in Brazil after in Brazil, incredible, difficult, you know. In my situation, it helped the experience. So the technical experience in terms of preparation, which is the most important. I mean, I can be, and I was lucky that I don't want to say administration is not important, but the technical aspect, if the results are not good, you can easily say, but look, the administration, the paper are perfect, what you did in terms of budget is perfect. But then the technical aspect is not what you were expecting, forget the administration. So in my situation, it helps a lot my experience, what I learned before in the pitch and what was important. This, for me, permit to teach the referees this environment, which was for me the most important. In the beginning, try to delegate the administration to my team, and they quite teach me in terms of this, because it was something new for me. how to lead, division, department, and all these aspects. So I quite ask them to tell me. And then, of course, if I would participate in this school or in another environment, of course, it would also help me. So in this moment, I took the advantage on what I did, and I put, and then in the years, now 10, I can easily also take care also in the administration and leading the group.
Massimo, for those that are finishing now in these years, the career as a referees, do you have plans to make them managers, executives, in order to improve the system overall?
Absolutely. I have a group of instructors working with a contract around the world. Who better teach the teacher? I mean, we have top referees. Not always when you are a top referee or in every sport, you can be a top teacher. It's not for all.
As you said before.
But we are using them. We are using them because we need really people that understand what you are saying. Because for us, the most important is it's really the technical or physical or medical aspect. So this is basically how it's composed our division. Administration is very important. We are together. But the most important, and I think what we say today is the result. The results is the most important, especially in FIFA. The only income inside this building is the World Cup. The World Cup have to be perfect. All the rest, I don't want to say is not important, but we have to really divide, responsibility and target in this building.
I think this Nickel question is perfect also to close the panel because we have a time issue. Sorry, I need to be the moderator and referee at the same time.
We have extra time.
Sorry, sorry if I substitute in
we
this
have
case.
Extra time.
I know, but there is already. We are already in extra time.
Yeah?
We are already. I know.
Say,
Vincent is. Please, I think let's take the opportunity to leverage this question from Nickel as a concluding remarks. Damian and then Dennis.
No, for me, working for a federation now, it's also about the channel you would like to choose to reach out to your target, which are the athletes. As a federation, your first contacts are to the clubs, and I think a lot of work has to be done together with the clubs, between federation and clubs, because they have a daily contact with the athletes. We have contact with the athletes during the international periods and during pre-camps before a World Cup or like this. But I think to have the right message and to give the right message and the education to the athletes and to open their mind, that they keep an eyes open during their career, to have a good transition at the end. I think this is a big work for the clubs, and the work between the clubs and the federation should be, a national federation should be intensified, I think. So.
Thank you, Damian. Dennis, to you to close this panel.
Well, personally, I felt that as a sport leader, we have a certain responsibility to make sure that the next one will be well prepared. And in my case, I've been looking around when I felt it's time to go. And I look especially at our athletes commission to see whether we had a guy who could take over. And there was one, Olympic champions, world champion, nuclear engineer, not a lawyer. I told him, you're missing this part, and maybe I can help you for a few years. And he started, and we worked together to make the transition. For a number of years, 3 years, more or less 4 years, he accompanied me, I introduced him, and he learned the job in a way because he had not had the opportunity to make the FIFA Master or a similar course. But he's an intelligent guy. He learned a lot immediately, and now he's really a top IF president. He became IOC member as well. He's recognized everywhere. And I think it's important that those in place look for a good successor to continue a certain transition and a certain quality and respect of the value you have in your sport?
I think this is a great way to conclude this panel. The two questions I may conclude saying that are both a sort of call for action for the overall FIFA Master Network and alumni. So basically, we need to encourage, facilitate the development of athletes, from the field of play to the office. Thank you again to the speakers. Dennis, sorry.